It's been a while since I've been here. For those of you who are meeting me for the first time, hi. Hope you're having a good morning. And for those of you who I've seen before, yes, I am over 6 foot now. No, the sermon topic I have today is being a Christian in this contemporary world. Now, there are two main objectives, two main deliverables I want to focus on. What it actually means when I say to be a Christian in this contemporary world, and where indeed do we get our answers from. So, the official definition of a contemporary world, according to dictionary.com, is belonging to the same age, living or occurring in the same period of time, existing or occurring at the present time. So, that's naturally modern-day society. So, the whole point is us being a Christian in this modern-day society, and how we navigate the world with all the modern era and whatnot. So, in this day and age, there are many things, many beliefs, many ideas, many principles, and all sorts of people pioneering these ideas. And they're all in a cacophony, so to speak. If you don't do music, a cacophony is like a song with so many different melodies, and they're all clashing together because there's so many and they're not harmonious. And so it's easy to lose focus when you have all these ideas and all these different beliefs and ways of life all going, firing at the same time in every direction. So it's like, how do you keep focus in all of this? And on top of that, most of us here are on the younger side. I mean, it is a youth event after all. So we're new to this whole thing. And as human nature insists, when you're new to something, you're not going to be very good at it. There's this adage they often say, practice makes perfect. And that's because it is believed when you try something for the first time, you're going to stumble a bit. So yeah, on top of being in a very confusing and disorienting world, we're new to this disorienting and confusing world. And as if to make matters worse, there is now a cost, well, there's always been, but there is a cost of being Christian, a cost of following Christ. In my own modern day, I'm a university student. And in my class, when we want to have fun or something, some may go, oh, do you guys want to go out drinking, or do you guys want to go out and have some fun? They won't invite me because they know I'm a Christian. And that's a thing. People are very weary of Christians these days. In fact, it would almost seem like the Church of Christ is under attack. The thing I study is computer games programming. And I'm sure you guys have heard of these AI bots. One of the interesting things, I was talking to Brother Mike yesterday about it, is you ask AI to make a joke about Jesus, and it'll give you a joke. Dare I say a funny one. But if you ask AI to make another joke about Muhammad or something, or another religious character, the AI will tell you to your face, no, sorry, we can't make any jokes about religious characters. That's disrespectful. I find that very funny. It's funny for the same reason why it's sad, because it's like there is no longer a respect for Christ in this world. And you can see that reflected in so many different things. So with all of this in light, now we get to the point of, how do we make sense of all of this? And where do I get my answers from? Now, I've come up with a few interesting places where we can get our answers from. And I am just as new to all of this as you guys are. I'm also around the same age as you guys. But I think I've come up with something tangible, something nice I can share with you. Now, for Christians, the Bible should be reference point for each and every one of us. The Bible should be our point, our objective reference in our life. And the great thing about the Bible, speaking of living in challenging times, is it has record of many different characters that live in challenging times. And I'm going to read, it's a bit of a long read. It's from the book of Daniel, chapter 3, verse 3 to 30. And it talks about the life of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I know some of you are flipping trying to find that place, but I have it on the screen just in case you want to read along. It says here, King Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold, 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide, and set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. He then summoned the satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all other provincial officials to come to the dedication of the image he had set up. So these satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, and magistrates, and all of the other provincial officers assembled for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up, and they stood before it. Then the herald loudly proclaimed, "Nations and peoples of every language, this is what you are commanded to do. As soon as you hear the sound of the horn, flutes, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, you must fall down and worship the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace." Therefore, as soon as they heard the sound of the horn, flute, cymbal, lyre, harp, and all kinds of music, all the nations and peoples of every language fell down and worshipped the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So now we see the establishment of a society with ideas, so to speak. You have an establishment of a following, a belief, not necessarily belief, but everyone is doing a certain thing. This is, for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, their contemporary world. This is what everyone else is doing. And as we continue to read on, it says, "At this time some astrologers came forward and denounced the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, 'May the king live forever. Your Majesty has issued a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, flute, cymbal, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music must fall down and worship the image of gold, and that whoever does not fall down and will worship will be thrown into a blazing furnace. But there are some Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who pay no attention to you, your Majesty. They neither serve your gods, nor worship the image of gold you have set up.' Furious with rage, Nebuchadnezzar summoned Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king, and Nebuchadnezzar said to them, 'Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the image of gold I have set up? Now, when you hear the sound of the horn, flute, xylophone, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, if you are ready to fall down and worship the image I made, very good. But if you do not worship it, you will be thrown immediately into a blazing furnace. Then what God will be able to rescue you from my hand?'" Pay attention to this. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, "King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it. And he will deliver us from your Majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your Majesty, that we will not serve your gods, nor will we worship the image of gold you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar was furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and his attitude toward them changed. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual, and commanded some of the strongest soldiers in the army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and throw them into a blazing furnace. So these men, wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and clothes, were bound into a blazing furnace. The king's command was so urgent and the furnace so hot that the flames of the fire killed the soldiers who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement, and he asked his advisors, "What the 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire?" They replied, "Certainly, your Majesty." He said, "Look, I see 4 men walking around around in the fire, unbound and unharmed. And the fourth, he looks like a son of the gods. Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire. And the satraps, the prefects, the governors, and royal advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair of their heads singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there wasn't even a smell of fire on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any other god except their own. Therefore, I decree the people of any nation or language who say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be cut into pieces, and their houses be turned into piles of rubble, for no other God can save in this way. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Wow! I'm sure you guys read the story with me just now. I'm sure you saw what I just saw. This is a guy who would build a statue of himself, and he would make an entire nation worship that statue. And all of a sudden, this is this same guy, humble enough to recognize the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Can I ask you a question, you guys? Is our faith making those in the world, even as arrogant as some may be, or as evil as some may be, is our faith shaking them? Is our faith making them see the majesty of our God? I just find this so interesting, so inspiring. Because like I said, there was an establishment of a contemporary world where they would worship other gods and they would worship the statue. But even in that, these three examples, as I would like to see them, they stood firm, they trusted in God, and they said within themselves, even if we are to die, then we will die. I'm not asking you to go and die, but I think it's important, the lessons we can learn from these three. The ability to be firmly rooted and to have good trust and faith in the God that we serve. And we'll see how that may change others in this contemporary world. Now, on top of this story, there are many different places in the Bible we can learn from that give us lessons and guidance on how to navigate this world. Because the truth of the matter is, we live in a dark place, a very, very dark place. And the nature of dark places is you can't see anything in them. And it's difficult because then you'll be stumbling around and you won't know where you're going and everything becomes crazy and scary and it's terrible. But when you have guidance, it's like a torchlight. It's like you can see in front of you where it is you want to go. And so that's exactly what I want to give you. I want to give you guys a torchlight. I want to give you guys many different ideas of where we can get answers. Now, on top of that, I would like to read this passage with you. Psalm 1. Any volunteers? Would anyone like to read? If not, it's fine. I'll go for it myself. You want to read?
Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. Not so the wicked. They are like chaff that the wind blows away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly, for for the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to destruction.
Yeah, Psalm 1. One of my favorite Psalms, actually. It says, blessed is the one. We all know what blessed means. The word blessed means happy. So happy is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked. So happy is the one who does not stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is where? In the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water. You know what water does to plants? It makes them healthy, it makes them strong. So that's exactly what that person is like. Such happiness is like that of a tree that has continuous health going into it, planted by streams of water, which yields its fruits in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. The leaf is like the smallest visible part of the tree, and even that smallest part, it doesn't wither. That's what we're being compared to here. If we are like the ones that do not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way the sinners take. I think that is very relative to what I'm talking about, in that such a person is within a society of sinners, mockers, and the wicked, as it were. Such a person is in that society, but despite that fact, he is still blessed, he is still happy. Why? Because of all the things listed in this passage. And on top of that, he meditates on his law day and night. So regularly. That's fantastic. But obviously it goes on to say, not so the wicked, they are like chaff, and the wind blows away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to destruction. On top of the Bible being our object of reference, we also have answers with one another. We have peers, those that are going through the same thing we are going through. And I think it's important, or even paramount, to engage those that you're going through these things with. I can see a lot of people here, and I know in my mind that there's loads of people elsewhere, loads of different friends and faces that I'm not seeing today. But it's great because when you go through something with someone, there is every tendency to get closer with that person. I don't know if anyone here watches horror movies, but there's this trope when like a group of, teenagers go into like an abandoned building, and one of them says, let's split up, let's go separate ways, divide and conquer. What usually happens to them is the monster picks them off one by one, because they're easier targets, individually spread out. But if we're together, then maybe, just maybe, we can survive through this together. There is always strength in numbers and great fellowship in unity. Even in Scripture, it says, bear one another's burdens, carry each other's burdens, and in this way we will fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6:2. And it also says, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another. And all the more as you see the day approaching. Hebrews chapter 10:25. I mean, this just here is telling us straight in our face that we're supposed to do this together. It's impossible if we want to do this alone. I mean, the very nature of being a Christian is a relationship. And having a relationship is not something that can be done with one party. Having a relationship implies that there is more than one party involved. That's what it's all about, doing this together. I'm sure everyone has their individual struggles. Everyone's going through all sorts of things maybe I can't even imagine. But it's good, it's comforting, it's warming, in fact, to know that you're not going through this alone. And on top of our peers, there is the older generation, the old heads. How much more, how do I say this, uplifting, encouraging might it be to go and talk to someone who's been through what you've been through already? They just have all the answers, don't they? In fact, it's why I believe that God has set up parenthood the way He has, capable of being a parent once you've reached a certain biological age. That means that you have had to know how to navigate this world first before you can show someone else how to navigate this world. I think it's very important we try to find information, wisdom, and learning from the older generation, and as well as our peers. I don't have much more to say, but I'm glad. Thank you to everyone for listening. This has been very uplifting and blessing. What we've looked at today is what it means to be a Christian in this contemporary world, and where we can get our